Are we on? Hello, everyone. This is Joe Soro with the Lakers Nightcap. Lakers Fast Break with Gerald. Gerald's been working the engineer's side of this thing here. Sorry, guys, for being in here late, but sometimes Facebook tends to create
Facebook sucks.
Yeah, Facebook sucks. As big as Facebook is, they're just not.
But please follow us.
Yeah, please like and follow us because we really like you to follow us. Get it? Get it? Where's Sean? Did he get a link? Is it going to work?
I'm sending it out now. So
Okay,
you guys are going to be on. I'm going to head on out here.
So Sean is going to be here soon, folks. A lot on the table tonight.
2-2, Frank. 2-2. You had no Kawhi there. You guys blew it. What's happened, man?
Wait.
31 points.
Are we talking about Frank or Frank?
Frank.
Okay.
His Mavericks blew an opportunity today.
Okay, where are we here? Am I on the right login here?
Yeah, you're good.
I
sent it out. I sent everything out.
No, I'm saying as far as the chat, because I'm not getting anything that's showing up on the chat.
It's showing up on mine. That's the problem. You're going to have to open up a new tab live.
Should I get out?
No. Just open up a new tab like you're a viewer, like you're just somebody viewing it, and then you can respond on screen through that way. So
okay.
Yes,
even on here on my.
Yeah, on your computer, just open up a new tab, go to YouTube, go to us, and you can see all.
No, I already know the YouTube. I'm talking about on our thing.
No, you may, pop in and back out. Let's see.
Okay, let me come back out. Gerald, hang tight. I'll come back out.
All right. Well, we're trying to bring everything set in. Facebook gave us a little bit of an issue right here. And before I go, I'm just here for a temporary moment or two just to get everything started. But Clippers winning series. I don't know if I want to go that far. And I don't know if you're going to get any type of issue with Kawhi and how legit it'll be, but we'll see.
There we go.
Lively had a good game. Yeah, Lively was really good for you guys, Frank, and that's encouraging for your future. I'll give you that. But I've just sent out the message and link to everybody out there. Oh, that's what's going on. Okay, there you go. There, everybody should get it now.
Everybody should be on right now. Everything is good.
Yeah, everybody's good. I sent out the link and went
All
through.
Right, good. Okay, so for those of you who didn't hear it, want to introduce you to the Lakers Fast Break Nightcap. It's been a while since we've done a show. We're going to have a 2-hour show tonight. Well, actually, it's starting now, basically, because we had some technical difficulties with the current program. I was able to watch most of the games today. I had a lot going on, family stuff, baby showers and all that, but I was able to watch the Dallas Clippers game in the meantime, as well as the Indiana Pacers Milwaukee Bucks series. It looks like Milwaukee's about to bow out, and I'm going to guess that Minnesota's probably going to finish off Phoenix here tonight, but we'll probably be on to get that officially. Right now, Phoenix is up by 1 at the end of the first. Some interesting news that's popped up in the last hour or so. Gerald wanted me to discuss the possibility of Jarred Vanderbilt appearing tomorrow. He is questionable.
Yes.
However, there's another player that's questionable that's going to pique our interest a little bit more, and that is Mr. Jamal Murray.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Jamal Murray is now on the injured list as questionable. We discussed this, and we had said that, or at least I had said that Jamal looked not right this last few games.
And neither is Joe's internet.
There you go. That one wasn't me, Joe. That was you, my friend.
I didn't touch anything.
Be nice.
I think it's your internet sometimes.
Be nice.
I didn't touch anything.
All right, but don't worry. You got you back. But yes, you're right.
Okay, good. Everybody happy?
Yes, it looks like it. So
okay, good. Let's see. What do we want to do?
Can you see the chat?
Do we want to do this? Okay, this is good.
Okay, you do that. Can you see the chat?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure the Lakerholics they got the message and they got the chat because they said they might pop in as well.
Okay, so right now, guys, I'm going to prepare you for I'm preparing right now. Sean's obviously going to be on here. I think Gerald's going to be piecing out here in a minute. Mm-hmm. We may have Laker Tom and Yami Sweet join us. It's been a while since I've done a show with the boys, and they've never done a nightcap with us. So this could go 2 hours, maybe a little bit more. I don't know. We'll see how things play out. But I wanted to definitely update some stuff here that we weren't expecting. I was not expecting the Jamal Murray questionable announcement. That could play an interesting. What's the word? Sean, you're the thesaurus. What's a good word to explain that? Should he not play tomorrow?
Auspicious.
Auspicious. It'll be very fortuitous, too. Should he not? Yes, I do read. Not as much as Sean, but I do read. It would be very, very interesting should the Lakers go into Denver without Jamal Murray and win, because I had said that until they win game 5, it's just an avoidance at this point of the inevitable. However, if they go into tomorrow's game and Jamal is not there, that's a huge cog that's missing. That's a guy that's been a bane to the Lakers' existence in the last year and change. If they go into that game and they end up winning without Jamal there, now Denver comes back to LA pressing. Okay? They're going to start pressing. And when they start pressing, and if the Lakers have full confidence in their abilities, let's say if they win tomorrow and go into game 6 in LA, now if the Lakers win that game and go back to Denver 3-3, now they're going to be very nervous, because LeBron James and Anthony Davis in a take-it-all game, that's very, very scary. Again, so a lot of details on that. I'm gonna be a cynic here and think that it might just be a precaution. I think he'll still play, but we're gonna have to find out the details on that tomorrow.
Lakers should prepare as if he's going to play.
Yes, absolutely. Joe Tom is now asking for Ham to be fired after he was championing him a couple months ago. Well, there's no denying that Ham has finally broken even LeBron in this whole thing publicly. I thought the non-challenge call was indicative of what Ham's been doing all year, which is not really doing anything. He doesn't do anything, at least from what I'm seeing. And if LeBron is finally proving that he's not doing anything in areas that we wouldn't know, which is practice and video and all that, well, you might have gotten proof that that's what's going on there. But we'll delve into that a little bit here also, because I think that's going to be an important topic. I don't mind coaches and players in general getting heated on the sidelines at each other. That's part of the competition. That's part of the testosterone. But there's a deeper meaning to that, because again, we see it. I think a lot of us are pretty bright. We can interpret some things that are going on. And at that point, you saw that, clearly that the ball was off Denver's hands, and had you challenged it, you would have won. And that's a Mike Tomlin tactic, by the way, folks. Mike Tomlin was really good at not challenging, or when he does challenge, he loses, and when he doesn't challenge, he would have won. Steelers lost the game last year because of that. But anyways, Condor Joe, if Ham forces a game 7 but still loses, is he gone? Absolutely, he's gone. He is gone regardless of unless you win a championship. In my book, I think you need to really, 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 really understand what's at stake here at this point. We are pretty clear that LeBron James is going to come back. He's going to sign an extension with the Lakers. We don't know for how much. We're hoping that he takes a pay cut so that they can go and get some players to help him win at least one more time. But for sure, he's gone if they don't win a championship, and the Lakers really need to hit on this. They haven't hit on this since falling into Frank Vogel's third option. And before then, it was having to sign Phil Jackson in 1999. So I think you guys have hired enough dud head coaches. I think it's time to get something that would be beneficial for next year. Someone that has an innovation, someone that has the ability to communicate with these guys so that they can finally do what needs to get done in a 48-minute game consistently throughout the year.
Well, speaking of the Devils, since you brought them up, let me ask you a question. If the Minnesota Timberwolves sweep the Phoenix Suns, is that the most lopsided sweep in NBA history?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
With Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, a stacked team, you don't think that'd be the worst sweep in NBA history?
No, I think the most, what was the word you used?
Lopsided.
Most lopsided was the 2001 sweep of the Spurs. The Lakers won by 39-29 to finish the Spurs out, and the Spurs were
Yeah,
a damn
but
good team.
see, Joe, two of those 4 games were really close. Minnesota has blown out the Phoenix Suns in 3 of these games so far.
Would you warrant the Suns as a juggernaut though?
Well, no. Well, what I'm saying is based on the talent involved here, I would say that that's worse. The Spurs got us on a sweep too, so I would say that's pretty even. The Minnesota Timberwolves have never been up 3-0 in a series before, Joe.
I'm just going to
I-
say this before I head it out, Sean, that the Timberwolves, they're the team I think that you need to worry about. I said it the other day. They play defense better than any team right now in the league. They cover the 3-point area better. If you've seen it today in today's game, but especially the last game, really a clinic, Joe. If they are scary good on defense, I mean scary good on defense. So even if they don't win tonight, I just think they've got that series already in the bag.
I agree, Joe.
They're probably the scariest team to Denver.
And here's the other kind of caveat, Joe. I think you'd have to consider it the worst sweep ever because you're spending $200 million on 3 players. On 3 players.
And the sad thing is they got to pay they got to pay those guys the same amount next year.
Yes.
And
because Beal's extension doesn't kick in until next year.
I don't know what are the options for Phoenix. Are they going to say, look, maybe we just need a year to get acclimated? And
does Kevin Durant ask for another trade?
I don't think so, man. I think if anybody,
it's not beneath him.
I think if anybody's going to ask for a trade, it'd probably be Booker. The issue with look, this owner came in and wanted to make a splash, and he gave Gerald and I said this a few years ago when we were talking to Tom, and he thought it was an insult. I remember it vividly. He thought I was making fun of Chinese people. But I said, you hired an Italian cook to cook Chinese food. And that's what Phoenix hired in Frank Vogel. They gave him, all due respect to Kevin Durant, I don't think he really plays defense in a stout way, even when he was in his prime. But you have Devin Booker, who he's kind of like a quintessential crybaby. He doesn't really play defense. And then Bradley Beal is one of the worst players to play defense in the league. And you gave those guys Frank Vogel, probably thinking, look, maybe Frank Vogel, because he's a defensive genius, and there's a good argument there that he is, that maybe he teach them how to play defense while they cover him on the offensive end. Well, it looks like that's not working.
They just don't have the guy. Like, he runs a completely different defense in Phoenix than he did in LA because he just doesn't have the defenders.
No, but
that
see,
he
here's
had
the
in
thing.
Los Angeles.
The 2008 Celtics ruined a lot of things for that philosophy. Ray Allen and Paul Pierce were anything but defenders. And Kevin Garnett, while very, very formidable, never was, in my book, up until 2008, a defensive player of the year type guy. And it just, I think what Ray and Paul did were they're like, look, man, Paul was like, I'm tired of losing. I'm going all out. And Ray probably said, look, I'm not going to, I played in Seattle, I played in Milwaukee. I got to win. Okay. And they were able to get a couple of good role players in there with the Eddie Houses and the
Brown.
I'm drawing a blank on Tony Allen's and those guys, and they ended up being probably one of the greatest defensive teams that ever existed. And that's when you look back at those two finals losses, we could say that arguably the 04 Pistons and the 08 Celtics were the greatest defensive teams, probably, let's say, top 5 of all time. Would you agree to that?
Unfortunately.
Or are we just saying that because they beat the Lakers in the process?
No.
Again, it could come off as homer or not, but statistically, I never saw defenses play that well in my 34 years of watching basketball. The Bulls were great in the 90s. They had Scotty, they had Jordan, they had Rodman, that last three-peat. But
Hey, look, let's remember, too, P.J. Brown was practically bones and dust, and he had a really great game 1. And Leon Poe, no one had heard of Leon Poe before or after that finals, and he had one great game. So they had a lot of balance.
Posey too. Posey, that was the name I was remembering.
James Posey.
Posey was I think James Posey was the biggest problem in that series.
He was.
Guys, I'm going to be heading on out now. I again gave the message to Jamie and Tom, and hopefully they will join. So it looks like you're in control now. It's Joe that you're able to bring everybody in. So if they come on, hopefully they will join. Yes, Joe's in control. Scary thought.
It's the outer limits with Joe Soro.
Yes. We're in trouble now. God help us all.
All right, Gerald, you can go.
I'll be watching. Big brother is always watching.
Yes. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Good riddance. Anyways, so back to what is it? Back to life.
Back to reality.
Okay, so the reality is things are getting interesting, and we had a good question here by one of our panelists, our chat room peeps, is if we win a nail biter in Game 5, what does that mean?
That means the series is 3-2 and we go back to LA.
It doesn't matter, folks, if it's a nail biter, if it's a blowout, if Jamal Murray's there, if he's not there. The key here is win.
It's the whole point of the playoffs show. That's what's the beauty about it. If you lose by a point or by 50, you go on to the next game, as long as there's a next game.
Yeah, Alan, if you really want to know who's in control, I mean, I could take a little X by your little chat and you're going bye-bye. So remember your talk. Know your role. Jamal Murray officially listed as questionable right now. Yeah, Evan, we were just talking about that at the beginning of the show before
we'll see.
We veered out.
The fact that he woke up questionable today, ladies and gentlemen, means that when he woke up, he was hurt. Something wasn't right. That's why he's questionable. So don't automatically assume he's not going to play, but don't automatically assume he is going to play.
I don't know. I've noticed something has been wrong. There's no reason for him to.
He's had injury problems all year. It might have finally caught up to him.
And this is something that's worried me a little bit, especially with the issue out east with the Celtics. Celtics ended up blowing out the Heat as they should, and there's a two issue thing here besides the Lakers situation, and that's can't afford for the Lakers to have the Boston Celtics win a title. Otherwise, the 2020 title ends up being kind of a wash. Not like, hey, it's still a championship. It's still a banner. It's still a Larry O'Brien trophy in Jeannie's room.
And Joe, it just goes to show you that this game in the playoffs, it's about attrition. That's what it's about. It's about attrition. See, Denver has been playing a lot of playoff games since 2019, 2020. They've been to Western Conference Finals. They've been to NBA Finals. And attrition gets everybody, Joe. Mm-hmm. It spares no one.
Especially with Jamal. Jamal has had injuries his entire career, knick-knack injuries. You've had Michael Porter Jr., who's had a lot of back issues. It seems like Jokic is kind of avoided any major issues, because I think his ability to kind of stroll through games and still be as great as he is tends to keep the wear off his knees, his feet, and his legs, whatever in general. So that's going to play an important part here, especially at home. And the Lakers have to go into this game assuming that this is a championship game, right? And if they can squeak out a win, it's still not over. It's still got 2 more games to win. But, man, if you go into Denver and you finally get that win, I think it's more of an issue with Denver at that point. Now they're going to start pressing, and that's really what I'm looking forward to seeing. Joe, I think Joe wasn't joking about that.
Well, and you also, but see, you have to prepare as if he's going to play, because all it would take is letting your guard down and allowing somebody like Christian Brown or, God forbid, Reggie Jackson to have a game. We don't need to have the Reggie Jackson renaissance again. He's the most useful, useless NBA player I've seen in the last 15 years.
I don't think you're going to have to worry about Reggie Jackson.
I hope not.
He's not playing tomorrow.
I hope
he's
not.
doubtful. Doubtful the day before usually means he's not playing the next day.
We'll see. If Murray can't go, they'll need him, because they have, if Murray and Jackson are not playing, they have Christian Braun, and that's it.
Is it Braun or Brown?
It's Braun. It's Braun. Braun. Braun.
Yeah, but why does he say Brown? Why do they announce his called Brown?
It's like Favre and Favre.
Oh God, Favre.
It's Brett Favre.
What is that, French?
Yes, it was always Brett Favre. It was never Favre. He just didn't like Favre.
He didn't like Favre. He just called himself Favre.
You're from Mississippi or Louisiana, and you got a French name. You're Favre.
Kiel, Mississippi, French, maybe 200 years ago. I don't know about now, but anyways, you're all on a.
Well, did you? So I'm gonna test your American history. Okay, all right, okay. What 2 states were one state in the South?
Was it Oklahoma? What, they want one?
Alabama and Mississippi used to be one state.
Really? So why did they change to 2 states?
That's a good question. I've never really.
I haven't heard that. That's interesting. I'm usually pretty good with that.
I've never really researched it, but I remember reading about it. I can't recall the reason why they separated, but they were one state at a time.
Huh. So we're getting history questions now. So what was the other one we got? Joe, what caused World War I? Cool, bro. You finally asked a question that didn't require some...
The assassination of Franz Ferdinand.
That's it, yeah. Joe, look, here's where I'm stuck, okay? I'm stuck between, are we really going to have a chance to win tomorrow? Is this really possible? Are the Lakers, let's say if they do manage to do it, will it take everything out of them if they do? Imagine playing 4 games that are going to take you out for a team that has LeBron James, who's already, up there. And then you have Anthony Davis, who's practically played every game this year. Is it going to tax them even if they made that miracle afterwards? Is the question. Or will it be that, hey, they're kind of conditioned now and then no one else is, and they're going to just ride that momentum? What other questions can we ask at this point, right? I mean, we're a Lakers show. We're going to try to say, hey, look, of course we have a chance, but is it likely is the question. And for those of you who are listening and watching, ask any question you want on that, because that's the important question. Before I came on tonight, the question was, what's the cost of this in the end? It's not just, let's say, the series and continuation in the playoffs, but what happens with Darvin Ham? What happens with LeBron James? What happens with D'Angelo Russell? These are the questions now that we have to ask, because this sucker can go either way, any way, which way we can imagine.
It's right.
Yeah,
it's right.
And the Nuggets, as far as the Nuggets are concerned, are they tired? I talked about a sophomore letdown, and the only reason why I said that is because that's what's happened.
I don't think so. I think it's more they're lackadaisical. They've been playing from behind all 4 games. I think it's just lackadaisical attitude. That's what I think it is. It's more lassitude and laziness than it is exhaustion.
You
But
don't think this is a tactic?
no, I think their bench is weaker, and they have to rely on their 5 guys to sustain leads or build on them.
I'm gonna say there's some tactical stuff here going on. I refuse to believe that there isn't some kind of philosophy in saying, look, we know that LeBron is going to get tired. We know that this team is mentally lazy. Let's throw them a bone to the point where they start to relax and then boom, will pounce, because it's happened too many times. Let's see here. Robert Wheeler has a question. Joe, do you think Denver being up 3-1 is hiding the fact that Lakers have played better for majority of the series? Unfortunately, Robert, I don't think Denver or the Lakers or anyone cares whether Denver has led by 1 minute or 20 minutes. The Denver Nuggets have full control of the series. They're going to go home and play a game 5 where they can wrap this sucker up. And if they win in 5, they've done their job. They've done their job perfectly. Sweeps are, no matter how good you are very, very rare. And if you can beat a LeBron, Anthony Davis team, whether they're a 7, 2, or 3 seed, you've done your job. So I wouldn't say there's anything other than the fact that they feel like they're in control. I don't really think they've played a game against the Lakers where they didn't feel like they were in control. Otherwise, I don't think they'd come in clutch at the end. I don't think Michael Porter Jr. would be making the shots he's making. Jokic dropping triple doubles like we're eating cotton candy. I just don't see how that's not possible. This team is still a 2nd seed in the NBA and probably the best team in the NBA until otherwise being told, right? Or seen. And that's how I look at it. But tomorrow can start something. Saturday, yesterday, didn't really start anything other than a little maybe opening. You could see the light a little bit in the door. But tomorrow, if the Lakers go into Denver and they beat Denver, and if Jamal Murray is not healthy, imagine this. It takes a lot for a player of that magnitude not to play in a playoff game. It means it's something serious, i.e., what happened today with Kawhi Leonard. It's Sean, you're the one that updated me on that while I was doing whatever I was doing here today. Kawhi Leonard's done, right? When they say there's no announcement on his return, that means he's done.
Pretty much.
Now, Frank, I'm sorry to say this, it seems like the Clippers play much better without Kawhi, at least in this series. And when you talk about complacency with the Denver Nuggets, I feel like you get a lot of that from the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks have a complacency issue, very similar to the Lakers. It seems like every team might be complacent. Is it complacent, or is it just the fact that the NBA culture is, let's just pick our spots. Once we start hitting, then we start hitting. If not, we just keep trying to hit, even if we're missing. Is that what it is? Is that what the NBA has come to?
Yes.
Joe, are you hiring? I will literally work for free. Cool, bro. You will never work for free where I'm at.
That's illegal, cool, bro.
Number one, it's illegal. Number two, you would be dead within 4 hours. My guys are not human.
That's called child labor.
Yeah.
Cool, bro.
Yeah.
And that's been abolished.
Yeah.
We stopped putting children in factories about 150 years ago.
Yeah, it would have to be something where, he's 15, so that means he can get a working permit. It would have to be something specific that I don't really think would make sense with you being way over there while I'm here. However, I'll keep it in mind when you turn maybe 16 or 17. But going back to Lakers, Denver, here's a question I have for you, Mr. Magic Man. Who's going to have the game of the night tomorrow should the Lakers win? Yeah. See, I knew I'd stump you there.
I'm going with I'm actually going with an outsider. I'm gonna say it is one Rui Hashimura.
Really? So finally, Rui has the game he needed in this series.
I
What
think
a
so.
perfect time. See, even
I
Robert
think
Wheeler said Rui. So if Rui has a great game, it's very likely everyone else will have a good game, right? Except maybe D'Lo's kind of back and forth.
Yeah, D'Lo tends to like come and go with Rui great games, but yes, it's I think usually how Rui goes, AD, LeBron, Austin Reeves, they usually have very good games as well.
Brenton Iverson, very, very interesting. Great name, by the way. Thank you for saying that, because I think that's a good analysis there. The NBA, according to what we just said about the NBA and how they kind of, there's an ebb and flow, that, if you will. The women's college game is a lot better than the men's amateur NCAA game and NBA. The thing I notice in men's basketball, men's NCAA basketball, is I just feel I always see the flex offense in every, even though it's not always in everybody's case, but it's like everything is repetitive. Everything is the same. I think that's kind of what's killed Calipari in blowing out a lot of these early games in the tournament. I think he just doesn't adapt very well, no matter what the talent is. Boeheim was very stubborn with that, and to some degree, Dean Smith, I think, was stubborn. But I think Dean Smith didn't care about winning as much as he cared about teaching. I don't know necessarily if I would want that, though. I mean, you're playing a competitive game. I would like to win and do well, like Nick Saban does, or Bill Belichick. But anyways, what caused the War of 1812? All right, so cool, bro. You can see that I'm not Gerald Glassford, right? If I feel like it, there might be some wiping off soon. So I enjoy the history lessons, but people are here to listen to the Lakers talk. And Sean, answer the man's question, will you? And then we'll go on with our life.
We were invaded by the Yankees, and we eventually burned down the original White House.
There's a really good documentary on the History Channel that discusses the frontiersmen. I highly, highly recommend it. It's a 4-part series. Highly recommend you watch it. You learn about Tecumseh. You learn about Daniel Boone. You learn about Kip Carson. All those guys. You might be wondering, who the hell's Kip Carson? Well, watch the documentary and you will see what people did to discover this country and why this country is what it is. It's pretty remarkable in the end. So cool, bro. Thanks for the history questions, but we're going to get back to sports here, especially the Lakers. And as far as my next question to you, Sean, is if the Lakers play a Denver team tomorrow without Jamal Murray or Reggie Jackson, how are they going to initiate how is Denver going to initiate the offense? Are they going to play through Jokic for 48 minutes? Okay.
Not 48, but yeah, definitely so they're going to have to max out Jokic. Jokic will get very little rest on Monday, Joe. They'll be forced to put him out there for stretches where he needs a blow and he's not going to be able to get one.
Okay. So now I'm feeling like we do a slight soft press every time he gets the ball. And at that point, get the ball out of his hands. Who on the Denver Nuggets can dribble and think at the same time?
Outside of Jokic?
Correct.
And
should Reggie or Jamal not play is the question.
You really only have two guys. One is Justin Holiday, who can, but he's a small forward. He's not a guard.
Right.
And if I had to pick another one, you could put Jalen Pickett out there, but I mean, he is just green around the gills. Like, if Jalen Pickett is forced to play, the Lakers will attack him. Like, LeBron and D'Lo and AD will mercilessly attack this kid. Those are the only two guys. You have Justin Holiday and Jalen Pickett. That's it. It's like Slim Pickens with Pickett.
Will Darvin Ham understand that advantage?
Oh God. Well, that's another question. He's going to be forced to. LeBron and AD and D'Lo will force him to attack this kid. You they're very like they are very limited outside of Murray and God forbid Reggie Jackson. Like, they just are. They just are. Braun, when he was in Kansas, he didn't initiate the offense. He wasn't even the offensive initiator. He was strictly an off-ball guard who could shoot, who could drive a little bit, and they asked him to defend the best perimeter defender as a guard for Kansas. Outside of that, if you asked him to do more than he could, he can't. Like, he's very limited in what he can do. Holiday is limited. He can put the ball on the floor a little bit, but Justin is no way near a guard as his brothers are. That's just a fact. And Pickett is a straight up rookie. You can't really, like, relying on a rookie against LeBron and AD, Joe. Merciless.
It is, and Alan makes a good point, which is I think his first good point in a while. Is soft tissue injuries tend to heal slowly, and calves are a calf strains, groin strains, and hamstring strains tend to be extremely slow in their healing process, and they're easily aggravated when they are in the process of healing. I had a pulled groin, I remember one time, and I felt it while I was playing recreational football, and then as soon as I ended up finishing the game, we wouldn't play another game for a week, and I'd be fine the whole week. And then as soon as I do one cut, the damn thing would start to hurt again. So the calf muscle is a very interesting muscle, especially for someone with Jamal Murray's basketball ability. He needs to be shifty. He needs to create separation. The whole reason why the Denver Nuggets seem to always have the Lakers number is because they're shot makers. And they're shot makers when it matters. When does it matter? At the end of the shot clock, at the end of quarters, towards the end in close games. Jamal Murray plays a huge factor in that. If you don't have a ball handler on a team that already doesn't have a lot of ball handlers and a guy that can shoot from anywhere and make it at any time, especially in the clutch, you are at a huge disadvantage. And especially if you start putting not only AD, but maybe let's say if Vanderbilt ends up playing, pressing on to Jokic.
Especially since the processing will be a lot slower, Joe. So it's not as if Denver can get those easy looks with KCP or Aaron Gordon giving backdoor cuts or those swing corner threes that they love to take, where somebody curls off a screen from Gordon or Jokic, and then KCP or Watson or MPJ run to the corner and they're open. The processing won't be as quick if you don't have Murray and you don't have Jackson out there, and you're relying on potentially a rookie and a small forward to make those kinds of decisions. It's not as if Jokic isn't capable of doing all this. It's going to be a lot because they don't have the depth. If you take away their guard depth, they have very little to work with. Because if you take away Murray and Jackson, they're basically a hodgepodge of tweeners, cutters, and guys that really can't get their own shot.
Right. And that's going to play a key game because I do believe that Reggie Jackson's not going to play. It's just a matter of can Jamal Murray fight through his calf strain. My initial feeling is he will. He just won't be as effective as he's been, which could play a part as well. Because if you put Austin on him and you just tell Austin, just keep playing the way you've been playing this last 3 games, and if you can get a few buckets here and there, cool.
It makes it easier to double Jokic.
Sure.
Double him. Make somebody else. Make Watson. Make Holiday. Let them take 5, 6 threes a game. And by the way, Joe, not only would you be able to double Jokic, but you'd be also able to kind of ghost screen or ghost double MPJ, so he doesn't get wide open threes either.
And
this is the element of Anthony Davis that is crucial.
That I noticed in game 4 that they forced him off the line, the 3-point line, and they made him get to the basket. Who do you think made that adjustment? Do you think Darvin Ham was that cagey?
I think it was AD.
You think it was AD? What the hell took him so long to do that?
I don't think it was a matter of like taking too long. I think it was just a matter of them like the scheme was working. They got the scheme to work somehow. Like you got to remember. I know what you're saying, but we also have to remember. You have David Adelman, Michael Malone, and Nikola Jokic watching film. Those are really 3 smart offensive minds, and you basically have AD and Phil Handy watching. Defensive rotations. So. I think it's it was just a combination of the right scheme working, Joe, and they were able to execute it.
So they fell into this. It wasn't tape work.
No.
Well, again, for those of you who are just joining us for the first time or in a long time, this is the Lakers Fast Break Nightcap. We started the Nightcap a little early this evening. It's been a while since I've done one. I wanted everyone to be here, especially on the East Coast. Sean lives in Toronto, and I'd rather not have him sleep at 4 in the morning. So those of you in Australia, those of you in Toronto, those of you in the Philippines, I know some of you are not worried about the time. Some of you guys are watching this in the dead of the day. So thank you for being here, guys. And we're discussing right now what the chances of the Lakers are. That stuff's bad, cool, bro. If you had Red Bull and worked for me, you would be dead within eight minutes. Red Bull is one of the most. Look, all those sugar drinks are
caffeine
drinks are garbage. They destroy your body, and they destroy young bodies.
God bless Kevin Samuels. We all wish Kevin was around, but he drank Red Bull like every day.
Yes.
For about 20 years, and Kevin's no longer with us because he drank Red Bull every day.
I think he ruptured his stomach, right? Was it a ruptured stomach?
It was a heart attack.
Heart attack or ruptured stomach is what I hear with that stuff.
Yes.
Alcohol is garbage too. Yeah, but I don't drink alcohol in the morning. I don't drink it at work. Okay, we have a nightcap.
That's what a nightcap is for, cool, bro.
Yeah. And stop using that as an excuse, okay? I'm 46 years old. I don't really drink that much. I drink it occasionally. You know damn well you're eating McDonald's every day. So if I was drinking every day, I'd be an alcoholic and I'd have a problem. So understand the difference. So anyways, going back, that's the last discussion I'm having with you, cool bro. That doesn't include the basketball world because you tend to veer us off your damn to this God knows what the hell you do over there in the Orange County area. But the playoffs they're not really. I don't know what's your feeling on the playoffs right now in the West. The East I knew again would be kind of but what the hell's going on in Dallas? Why can't they beat the Clippers without Kawhi?
Ty Lue.
Really?
It's Ty Lue. He's a superior head coach to Jason Kidd. It's It's like the David versus Goliath, but Goliath wins.
So Robert Wheeler's asking, let's see here.
Because
Robert,
he
let me pull
can
your thing here.
like they were up 31. They almost blew the biggest
Yeah, they were up by
margin
one at
of
one point, but
yeah,
they ran out of juice at the end there.
they did coming back, which is usually, as Joe knows better than most, that's usually what happens in an NFL game.
Mhm. Robert, the pressure is always on the Lakers, especially LeBron James. LeBron James is playing for a spot that only he can play for right now in the NBA, and that is the greatest player of all time. No one in the last 26 years has been playing for that spot. The last guy that was playing for that spot was Kobe Bryant. Before him was the setter, which was Michael Jordan in 1998, when he made the shot over Brian Russell and won his sixth championship. So as far as the pressure, immense pressure for the Lakers to win this game, immense pressure for LeBron to win this game because, well, for the Lakers standpoint, there's an issue with the green turds in Boston being where they are. The Lakers need to get to 18 before they do. So there's pressure there for the Lakers. The other is LeBron is looking at immortality if he somehow came back in a career. Let's just use this as a what if, right? What if LeBron brings the Lakers back to beat the Denver Nuggets in the first round, the current champions, and you come back from an 0-3 deficit, and then you go on to win a championship. Now, LeBron has 3 championships with 3 different teams as the finals MVP. That means he's the number 1. He'd have 5 total championships. 2 of those championships, he came back from a 3-1 deficit in the finals, and in one of the series, and the other was coming back from an 0-3, which is 0 for 51 at this point. Pretty gnarly, huh?
Thank you, Sheed Black. Great name, man. That's a great handle.
Hey, Sheed, thank you. We love you too, brother. Mississippi, Alabama. I'm sure you're happy you guys separated from Alabama. If you knew what that was, I didn't know until tonight that they were one state, which is kind of mind-boggling to me because I'm usually good at history. But again, thank you for the super chat. Thank you all for being here tonight. Again, for those of you who haven't been on the show before, I am seeing some new names here. Please like and subscribe. We don't spend any money on advertisements or algorithm extenders or any of that. We're pretty stubborn, old school guys. We want people to watch the show, like it organically, so we're not sitting around entertaining a bunch of bots from foreign countries or some a-hole who knows how to click on to some poor bastard out in Brazil, not knowing he's a subscriber to the Lakers Fast Break. We want authentic. We want people that like the show. This is a Lakers show. We already know Lakers are worldwide. We know that they're most popular basketball team that's ever existed in the world. So we feel that we're going to get out there at some point. It's just a matter of whether you guys like our shtick or not. And believe me when I say this, I'll listen to myself sometimes and not like me. I don't think it comes off well, but it seems like most of you do, and that's all that matters. And of course, Sean, go ahead.
No, sorry, you were on a roll there.
Well, I was going to say that there is that feeling sometimes like, is this good enough? Well, I think especially this last week or so, our numbers are increasing greatly. And I guess if it wasn't, then I think people wouldn't be happy, right? Joe, please ask Sean to mute when he types. It's hard for him to edit, Sean. So press that button.
I know, but it's like it feels like I'm Spicoli and he's Mr. Hand. Like every
what is this truancy?
That's what it feels like. It's our time.
It's Our time. I always, when I hear our time, I always think the Goonies.
Right.
I don't think of Mr. Hand. For those of you who don't know what the hell we're talking about, watch, if you haven't watched it, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Some of the greatest actors came out of that. I'm talking multiple Oscar winners and more than one Oscar winner. More than 2 Oscar winners came out of that movie. And a hell of a lot of Oscar-nominated people out there. Jennifer Jason Leigh was nominated for an Oscar, wasn't she? I think so, yes?
Yes.
You had Forrest Whitaker, who won one for The Last King of Scotland. You have Sean Penn, obviously, for winning in Harvey Milk movie.
Judd Nelson was in a lot of big 80s
Judd
movies.
Nelson was in that movie?
Yeah, he was.
When?
Was he?
No.
Wasn't he?
He wasn't in Fast Times, no. You're talking about Nicolas Cage.
No. I mean, he was in it too, but wait a minute.
No, Judd Nelson, you're thinking about Timon, right? That's a different actor. Let's see. Current affairs asking, you've discussed everything from World War I. Jamal Murray and Red Bull runs the gamut here. That's a good one. Joe, have you ever got a voice complaint from your neighbors when you rant?
It was Judge Reinhold, not Judd Nelson.
Oh,
I get the two mixed up.
No. Judge didn't win an Oscar. He's never been nominated for one.
I get those two mixed up all
Nicolas
the time.
Cage, Forrest Whitaker, and Sean Penn are the Oscar winners. Jennifer Jason Leigh, I believe, was nominated for an Oscar. And then Phoebe Cates was, she's never gotten to that level. But
Eric Stoltz was in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Eric Stoltz was in it. Goose was in it. Mr. Anthony Edwards, the original Anthony Edwards. You had Sean Penn, Forrest Whitaker. You had Jennifer Jason Leigh. You had Phoebe Cates. You had, who else was in that?
You had Vincent Chiavelli, who's...
There you go. That's it. That was the one I was thinking about. People won't remember the Goonies. I think they had their own video game. Yeah, everybody had their own video game at that point. Joe, have you ever gone? No, cool, bro. I've never gotten a noise complaint because I don't live in an apartment, a condo, or in a small house. I live in a big house with a big area where my neighbors are like 30, 40 feet away.
Don't worry, bro. My dad's a TV repairman. We got tools at home.
That's pretty good.
No, that was the funniest scene in that whole movie. Oh my god.
Thank you for the public service announcement. Please tell your boy here, cool bro, that garbage is trash. Stop drinking and stop eating from McDonald's. If you want to have a normal life when you get older, I'm 46 years old and I'm healthy as an ox. Yes, I've eaten McDonald's and I've drank a Red Bull, but I don't drink them every day, every week. I don't even remember the last time I drank a Red Bull, and I don't remember the last time I ate at McDonald's. So be careful. You're 15. Don't ruin your body. It's my optimism at this point is really tied to the results of tomorrow's game. I don't have any positive feeling right now. It's not there. My instincts say, much like it said on Saturday, that the Lakers are going to lose. But the Lakers surprised me last night by coming through. Why did they come through last night? I don't know. Other than the fact that Denver was missing shots that they normally make, and the Lakers were making shots in timely areas that they weren't making before. So what is the gist of this discussion? The gist is you cannot miss open shots when you really need it. For example, if the Lakers, when they were up 13 points, I'm sorry, let me go even further than that. After LeBron hit those 2 threes in game 2, and they went from 81-81, was it 81-81? No, 83-83. No, wait. It was 81. I'm sorry. They were up by 8. They were up by 8. He hit 2 threes, and then they were up 89-81. That should have been it. That should have had everyone ignited. Any shot that they had to make, They got to make the shot. They didn't. And LeBron ran out of gas at that point. He was done. He made 2 shots. They were unbelievable. Finally got him that lead that should have extended it. Now you're doing that in Denver. You're not doing that in LA. You had no noise that went your way. That was a complete silence. And it ended up being an issue at the end there. And of course, they ended up losing. So making up that game means you got to obviously make it up tomorrow. And then, of course, you got to come back and win game 6. And then how much energy, how much grit can you do after that? Even if you made a miraculous comeback, is it going to affect them in the second round? And this is important to say this because, guys, I'm not looking at this from a first round win. Even if the Lakers win, even if the Lakers had a miracle here and they beat Denver, I'm still going to be worried about them. They still have 3 more series to go. And if they're playing a fresh Minnesota team, which is who they would play, they're going to be playing Minnesota, guys, if they got out of this thing.
There needs to be one consistent facet throughout this entire series, Joe, if it continues. Anthony Davis needs to continue to average around 32 and 13. I don't care what Tim McMahon says. I don't care what other people say. You can say that Jokic has been the more consistent player over the past 3 or 4 years. But there's no way you could say he's been the better player in this series. He hasn't. AD has outplayed Jokic in all 4 games.
Define outplayed.
Well, AD had 28. So AD had 28 points through 3 quarters in game 2. It wasn't on AD that he only received 1 look at a shot attempt in the 4th quarter. That had less to do with him and more to do with the fact that we went to isolation offense.
Mm-hmm.
So he had 28 through 3 quarters. It took Nikola Jokic 4 quarters to get 32.
What the reason why they went into ISO is probably because they were tired, right?
Well, we talked about. You might have been away from that to post. What we talked about it is LeBron just went fishing. He went head hunting again, like he can. Now, in normal circumstances, that isn't necessarily a bad strategy. But it is a bad strategy when you get lured into bad looks. And that's essentially what happened. LeBron went ISO hunting in the middle of the floor, and he either tried to take KCP one-on-one or somebody like Aaron Gordon one-on-one. And usually what happens is it's kind of like the octopus, the North American octopus in the Mediterranean. It camouflages itself in the rocks and the surf, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it ends up collapsing in on its prey. That's what Denver did. They just waited until LeBron got into the box and they collapsed. It was 2 or 3 guys, and LeBron either turned it over, which happened 2 times, or he passed it out and nobody could hit an open shot. AD wasn't the one that was tired. AD was still checking Jokic defensively. They just weren't feeding him the ball.
So at what point does it click for AD to demand the ball?
Well, he never has. So I mean, if there's any time, it would be tomorrow. Like, demand it. Like, that's usually not his thing. And we talked about it. If you're not asking for it, I'm not going to give it to you. And I understand that philosophy, because it's just almost as if you don't take it upon yourself to take the bull by the horns, shouldn't ask anybody else to. So I understand that mindset, but he's too sometimes he becomes too passive. Because you know why, Joe? It's so easy for him. That's why. It's so easy for him. He doesn't think that he needs to be demanding. But when you go into ISO and you have those empty possessions, it's like carrying that brick of ice from the convenience store back home that's 3 miles away, right? You need to conserve that brick of ice or else it'll melt. And that's how you need to look at possessions. They're like water in a bucket. Can't waste them. And it's just offense becomes too easy for him, I think. And, he just doesn't demand the ball.
I don't think there'd be a damn thing I would care about in that situation. I'd be like, get your ass 3 feet from the basket. I'll devise a plan here for you to get there, and I'll make damn sure you get the ball. You have LeBron James. It's not,
Okay, so let me ask you and the comment section this. Who on Denver in this series has made life difficult for AD on the offensive end? Because he's been hitting his mid-range shots. He's been hitting his shots along the baseline. He's been making his putbacks, and he's been dominating in the post. He's averaging 1.35 points per possession in the post. Do you know how many Jokic is averaging in the series? 1.12. So AD has been better in the post offensively than Nikola Jokic this series.
This is not a time to wait for someone to demand anything. This team knows the deeper he plays, the more effective he is. The more you can control the game, the more you can control the pace. And I don't think there needs to be any time wasted on that. They got to go into Denver. They got to put every possession as an A. It's A important. Do not waste possessions. If you miss shots, fine. If you can't get the ball to AD because they're fronting or he doesn't get deep enough possession, then that's when you go, well, they don't do this anymore. This is one of the best things ever in the NBA. They got rid of it. Okay. This is, for those of you who don't know what this is, 20-second timeout, which I don't know why the hell they got rid of that. One of the best things about the NBA was this. Give me just 20 seconds, please. 20 seconds. I don't want to waste everybody's time right now. 20 seconds. What the hell? Why can't you get the ball here? All right, go back out there and do it. Not a full timeout where you're sitting there playing with your ham, pun intended, and just not, what is the point? The point is sometimes you need to make that announcement. Where are you, Anthony Davis? I'm on the block. Where on the block? I'm not even by the elbow. I'm actually closer to the basket. Good. Swing the mother effing ball to the other side if you have to and get this guy the ball. Is it that hard? Are they not happy with the 2? Do they want a 3? Are they mentally lazy? Are they tired? Okay, if you're tired and you're going to make mistakes, you might as well sit the guy at that point. Right? Okay, well, if you're going to be making these bad passes, I'm going to sit you down. Well, we can't sit down LeBron James. No. You sat down LeBron James for almost 7 minutes in the third quarter, and the Lakers went plus in the lead during that time. And wow, what happened? He was fresh in the fourth quarter. And he wasn't playing ISO ball. ISO ball happens every time you get tired. You know how I know, Sean? You know how many times I've played recreationally? When you start to get tired, you start to just shoot shots because it's too much work to get to the basket. You just want to make a shot. And this is the NBA, the highest league ever. Imagine how much harder it is with that in this league.
Very hard. Very hard. Joe, it's random trivia question time. It just kind of popped into my head. Okay?
Mhm.
So in 2010, Stu Jackson forbade
By the
Karan
way, you, Stu
Stu
Jackson.
Jackson, yeah. I knew that's partly why I wanted to ask this question. In 2010, Karan Butler was forbidden to chew on what during games?
Straw.
That's my man. That's my man, Joe Soro. That's my man. Yes.
And somebody should have told Karan Butler that destroys your teeth. But that's a discussion for another time with a dentist that we have on maybe one day.
You know, that story of him trying to hide his Mountain Dew addiction from Kobe is hilarious.
I didn't know that. Guys, that tells you a lot about respect. Respect. I mean, think about it. Kobe wasn't, he wasn't LeBron James. LeBron James he eats halibut and like fish, like he's that guy, right? It plays a part in why his body's been able to handle a lot of stuff. Yeah, he drinks a lot of wine, but wine's actually sometimes good for you.
Mm-hmm.
But the Kobe's diet changed later on in his career because he finally did that. He did finally get advice like, Kobe, you keep getting these knick-knack injuries because you eat all this trash. Imagine if you just tighten up your diet a little bit, you can run all day. And of course, what happened in 06, 07, 08, 09, you saw what happened. Everybody who's old enough to remember, you saw.
Yeah,
that.
it was so funny. It was like Karan tells this funny story, right? They were randomly. It was during a random game, and he comes out for a blow because Phil no, I don't. I forget. Anyway, he gets subbed, and Kobe's like, "Yo, man, you're in great shape. You're like a Mercedes Benz, like a hybrid. But sometimes I see you huffing and puffing out there. What kind of fuel are you putting into your body?" And at first, he bullshitted him. He lied. It said he had a clean diet, and then one day, Kobe came in early, like really, like he comes in early, but he came in really early, and he saw a liter of Mountain Dew in Karan's locker, and Karan tried to hide it. Yeah. And he's like, "Come on, man! You didn't think I saw that? You didn't think I saw that? Like, you can't be drinking that stuff and putting it into your body, bro."
Yeah, the soda, no matter what age. Again, I don't drink alcohol with food. It's very rare that I do. I think the only time I drank it and actually enjoyed it was I had pints of Hefeweizen with the Hooters wings. For some reason, that worked. But generally, I have to have any kind of rice, pizza, or wings with soda. I don't drink soda just to drink soda. I drink it with the food, hamburger, fries, things like that.
Some
And
guys just have, and somebody said Lamar likes Skittles. True, but usually tall, skinny guys like my brother Lamar Odom, they just have a different form of metabolism.
Mhm.
It's a different metabolism. Like I remember, do you remember the 2010 Western Conference Finals, Joe? Lamar walked all the way from his hotel to Staples Center. Like
Mhm.
not a lot, like nobody does that anymore, but he did. It's just some guys have a different metabolism.
Well, him, DK Metcalf almost had the same diet. You look at DK Metcalf and he looks like a god. And
Yeah.
Lamar looked like a god. I mean, his 6'10" guy was ripped to shreds. Some guys are just gifted. Genetics do play a part in that. But I think a lot of that dependence on those type of things there is an addiction issue. So that replaces something that's probably worse in a lot of cases. Thanks for the update, Kurt. I did see that Phoenix was up for a minute, but I still feel like Minnesota's going to pull that out. So Brenton Iverson, again, one of my favorite names on our panel here. I don't think Magic Johnson would allow AD to have low shot attempts in the fourth. Brenton, I don't talk about Magic Johnson enough because we're entrenched in the current culture of basketball. And I didn't get a chance to see Magic in his real prime. I saw it towards the end. But Magic Johnson, I have all the finals tapes, or I should say downloads, 1980, 82, 85, 87, 88, obviously 2001, 2002, 2009, 2010, and of course 2020. I have all those games from 6, 6, 6, 6, 7, 6, 5, 4, 5, 7, and 6. If you don't know what the hell I'm talking about the total games in the series. Seen all those, seen them all. So I got a chance to see it, even though I knew the results, but I saw Magic play. Guys, Magic Johnson, if James Worthy does not throw an errant pass to Henderson in game 2 in 84, and if he doesn't blow out, if him and Byron Scott don't blow out their hamstrings in 89, I truly believe that they would win those series and Magic would have won 7 championships in the 80s. I'm not going to count 83. I know a lot of people said, well, Worthy was injured and this and that. Look, that year was Philly's year. I'm not going to deny it. They got destroyed. Okay. They got destroyed and Philly destroyed everybody that year. That was the one season where I'm like, they got dominated, and they got dominated by the Houston Rockets in 86. But if Magic wins, guys, again, everything is predicated on that damn series win. That's what makes Jordan number one. Jordan never failed in the highest stage. Even if he didn't make it, no one cares about losing in the second round, in the first round, in the conference. It's the finals. If Magic wins 7 in that decade, which there's no one that's going to deny that was the most competitive decade of basketball in all of the NBA history, Magic Johnson would be next to Jordan on who the greatest player of all time is. And all it took to get him out of there is an errant pass by James Worthy and blown out hamstrings. Now, Detroit fans, I'm sure Isaiah, Rodman, and all of them, we were still going to beat them. I don't know. You tell me, Gerald. You tell me, Sean. Lakers went 11-0 in that playoff run. It was the swan song for Kareem. Do you think that had they not blown their hamstrings, do you think they beat Detroit in 89? You could say no, but I don't think so. I think they end up winning in 7 again.
It goes 7. Like that's what I think too. It would go 7. It would go the distance.
We're talking about Magic winning his second MVP, right? And Magic might have had his best season even a year later. Magic was on. Byron was in his prime. Coop still had something. Worthy still had something. Kareem might have not had everything, but they didn't really need him to be great. They had Magic a few years even after his first MVP that was even better in 89 than he was in 87. So for me, there's so much that was lost in those two instances that kept Magic from not being in the conversation of greatest of all time again. And again, Britton, thank you for bringing up Magic, because, again, we don't talk about Magic enough because a lot of this stuff, unfortunately, has become a negative because of his executive decisions, his just overall, I guess, attitude towards the hot and cold of the Lakers organization. Well, with that, let's see. Are we updated on – okay, so right now Minnesota's up 79-77 with 4:51 left in the third. I'm going to say Minnesota's going to pull this out and sweep Phoenix.
Hen, we're talking about 89. That was in the 88 finals that he dropped 25 on that bum ankle.
Yeah. He gave his all in that third quarter. But then Lambeer got called for a foul, which is still a foul, folks. People don't want to deny it. He bodied up Kareem. It was a foul. And then Kareem hit 2 shots, tied the game, and then they eventually ended up winning Game 6. And then Isaiah was spent for Game 7.
See,
and
he's often thought of as just this big bully goon. Lambeer could score when needed to, and he was in that era. I hate to say it, but it's true. He was probably the best outlet passer, not named Magic Johnson, Kevin Johnson, or John Stockton. Like, he was the best outlet passer as a big.
Better than Dennis Rodman, even?
We're talking about Bill Lambeer, like 86 to 90. Now, Rodman's prime there is as an outlet passers with the Bulls, right? So and a little with the Spurs. So we're talking like 94, 98. So after Lambeer, definitely he's the best. It was Lambeer, then him. The unheralded guy in that group is Anthony Mason. God rest his soul. He was actually very good too, but he was just never on good teams.
Yeah, it was interesting how that he became a ball handling big. He was ahead of his time in the 90s. He would have been.
Mace would be $100 million player.
Oh, today. No doubt. I think the Knicks made a mistake not keeping him when they could have. Been a lot of great players, and it's much easier to say. It's much easier to say that something's better now than it was before, especially when you weren't there. Kind of like this jackass that just got on. He just comes in just to be, and I think I know who it is too. Somebody I know, I think, that's being a jackass. It's okay. You can go ahead and talk. Make yourself look like a fool. But going back to tomorrow night's game, and I don't know if you wanted to discuss some things that you saw last night. I think we've kind of exhausted that a little bit. But tomorrow's game is going to be, would it be a legacy type game? Should the Lakers win?
See, I'm gonna cop out and say no, but if somehow, some way it goes to a 7th game and shit ends up happening, then yes, because this is the marker right here. You have to win 2 games in Denver. You have to. So obviously it's a must win. So I'll say this, Joe. Since the finals in 2010, this would be the biggest road victory in the playoffs for the Lakers since 2010. That's a long time for us, unfortunately. But yeah, it'd be the biggest road win in recent Lakers playoff history.
Man, I don't know, man. I got to see what happens tomorrow before I can make an assessment. And even then, it's going to be difficult. If the Lakers had just one more guy that I felt could play consistently game in and game out that wasn't LeBron James and AD, I think it would be I'd have much more confidence in being the first team to come back from an 0-3 deficit. Because that's really the main part. Are we really ever going to see an 0-3? You're on mute, Sean.
That number, Joe, 192. It's so random. It's gonna happen eventually.
It's 192?
Yeah, it's 192.
I thought it was 151.
No. Let me double check.
See, that's the problem, Kurt, is we need the Lakers to win a championship. Will it matter, even if they did pull off a miracle here? Are they going to face a fresh Minnesota team should they make the miracle? That's the question. And by this time tomorrow, we'll be at halftime. Maybe we'll get an idea. Maybe we won't. But
150.
I thought you guys deleted this schmuck.
I
Why is he
did.
showing up? Is he?
Oh, new name?
Is he? It's the same name.
Yeah, it's like 152. Gerald said 192. It wasn't me.
Yeah, Gerald know what the hell he's talking about. Wolves
Yeah.
are tough, best defensive team in the league.
It's like it's somewhere in the 150s, Joe. It's 1, 2. Yeah, it's 153.
153 now?
150
Because they're factoring in the Minnesota one now too.
Yes.
And then who else is 3-0 right now?
The Pels and the Thunder.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So it was 151 until those two series. Okay, that makes sense. Got to wait to see what happens tomorrow, honestly, for me to have any kind of idea. And even then, it's going to be taxing for a team with a 39-year-old and Anthony Davis, who's been playing as great as he is. What the Lakers need is they need D'Angelo and Austin to do what they did last night, and they also need Rui to drop 20. Can LeBron and AD score 25 to 30 each? And can the other three starters score 20 each?
I don't think it'll be that.
You're talking 60, and let's say you're talking about 110 points from your starters at the very least.
That's tough. I think maybe we could get to 100.
100 from the starters?
Yeah.
Who's going to be the unsung hero finally off the bench?
Well, other than Torian Prince, who's probably going to put in his 10 to 14 points. Maybe you get something out of Gabe Vincent.
Gabe Vincent hit a nice shot in the last game. Do you think he starts to hit a few more shots here?
I think if he gets open looks, he can hit them.
Okay. Is Gabe Vincent's defense giving you hope?
No.
So what's the problem with him on the defense? It's just the size, right?
It's just he's small. That's it.
Does he benefit by playing someone like Brown or whatever the hell he calls himself versus Jamal Murray?
How tall is Brown? He's 6'3", 6'4"?
I think 6'4", at least listed.
Yeah, 6'4". Possible. I mean, the kid's only in his second year. I think he can.
I don't think he might not be that tall. Wait, he
might be
6'6". He's listed at 6'6".
But Braun doesn't really have a dribble drive game. So, I mean, I think you could be comfortable living with Gabe Vincent trying to check him on the perimeter, because if we lose game 5 because Christian Braun hit 6 threes or Peyton Watson hit 6 threes, I mean, you got the ball out of Jokic, and if he's playing Murray's hands and he just got beaten by the others, I could live with that.
Okay. If I had to make a bet, I'm going to bet that Jamal Murray plays tomorrow, obviously limited. How is he going to play as a decoy? Is it possible? Can he? Or is he putting his team in a position to not play as well because he can't move the way he wants?
Yeah, he wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know him, right? But just from hearing about him, because he's from the Brampton area. That's a city just outside of Toronto. I don't think he'd do that, Joe. And I don't think Michael Malone would or that staff would allow him to play if he could injure himself further. Because one thing about these soft tissue injuries is they seem to not only do they accumulate and affect different areas of the body, but they just make recovery worse.
Mm-hmm. So it'd be smart for them hey, we're up 3-1. They're playing at home. You might get a little bit more out of your bench because most times role players, bench guys are going to play better at home. Do they look at this like, hey, man, we don't want to have him rupture something? We already seen what happened with Durant with this calf thing, and we saw what happened in the finals there in 2019. Do they say, we're going to sit you down, let you rest? Heck, we might even rest you for game 6 should you lose game 5, so you have a fresh Jamal Murray for game 7.
What AD say the other day? You try and cheat the game ends up cheating you.
Okay. And that's a good point. That's an excellent point. However, this is a calf problem that we have recognized without any information. We didn't know it was a calf, but we did know something's wrong with this guy. We know this because we watch the games. We know who he is. We know how good he is. And we can see that. Why is it all of a sudden Austin Reeves is playing a little bit better on him? And why isn't he making certain shots? Why is the elevation on his shot not going as high? This is stuff that you watch as much basketball as we do. You're going to start noticing this, especially when it comes to teams like this, because these are the ones we pay attention to almost every play. Why are the Lakers hurting here versus there? All that stuff. So it's a dangerous game if there's something serious with his calf. Now, it's probably not serious. He still walked and he still played the other night. However, that sucker can get worse. And I don't know this, so I'm going to ask you. You're the medical guy here, Sean. When you're at a higher elevation, does that matter? I mean, I would assume it does because your oxygen isn't as easy.
Your
so
blood
now the oxygen to that muscle becomes less and less. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but
your blood thickens. Yeah.
Okay. So I didn't.
Yeah.
I did get that one. I did assume that the right way.
Yes, you did.
Okay, good. So now you have to play with that as well. You have to play with the conditions that normally are at your advantage. Now they're at your disadvantage in an area where you can't really mess around as a basketball player, especially as a basketball player that needs his elusiveness to be effective. Jamal Murray's whole game is about getting ahead that much quicker than you are.
And that's why a lot of fighters, Joe, and like what Rock did in Rocky 4, when you're climbing up the mountains, because there's less oxygen, your body produces more red blood cells, so the blood automatically just thickens.
Okay, it's definitely put some interesting analysis here between now and tomorrow. I would not be this. I don't know if I would have been as hopeful until I found out this information. I wasn't really as hopeful as I am now, knowing that there is a chance that Murray, at the very least, will be less than he is normally. And will it make a difference? Can Jokic, can Mr. Brown, Mr. Coach Michael Malone, all of a sudden decide, you know what, I'm going to out-coach Ham to this point. I know that these guys are going to do this. We're going to do B. You're going to do C. I'm going to do D. Are they going to have a plan going into Denver and saying we're going to close these guys out whether Jamal's 100% or not? All this stuff can play itself out in that way.
And Joe, that's a big reason why teams that end up playing in Pittsburgh or Kansas City or Green Bay in December and January end up not having enough juice, because it's those frigid temperatures make your blood thicker, and so your pH is all off. So if you're not used to it, you can't compensate for it. That's why they always say, right? Like, if the Chiefs played in a dome, you'd give the Miami Dolphins a chance.
That's always the battle, isn't it? You're in a cold area like Minnesota or Chicago, Green Bay. and you tell yourself, man, I wish we could have control over the elements without us having a disadvantage. Well, you can't really do that if you're Minnesota in a dome. You can do it if you're in Green Bay. I guess you could do it if you're in Chicago, but Chicago has shown that they can't do it either.
See that Kurt, you make a great point. If we tire Jokic out, I'm not sure he can. See that, but me and Joe were also talking about that earlier. See, if Murray is out, that gives you even more of a purpose and a reason to make him work on both ends, because he doesn't have the conditioning to go back and forth. He's not as far as the center position is concerned, and all due respect to him, he's not an Anthony Davis. He's not a Hakeem Olajuwon. He is not a Wilt Chamberlain. He can't play on both ends of the floor consistently and effectively. It's not possible for him to do that. I don't give a rat's ass that David Pash wants to say, oh, well, Nikola Jokic has averaged 2 steals for the series, and that's an underrated part of his game. What's an underrated part of their game? Sticking your fucking arm out in a lane and disrupting a passing lane and getting the ball. Allen Iverson led the league in steals, David Pash. Would you give him a fucking Defensive Player of the Year award? Sit down, read your Bible, and shut up.
Sheed, he's worse than that. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. Joe, if you would bet 5,000 tomorrow to win 20,000, who you bet will win? That's a good one, Angel. I can't answer that unless I know Jamal Murray is playing or not. If Jamal Murray is not playing, yes, I would bet on the Lakers. If Jamal is playing, then I can't make that bet. There's no way I'd make that bet because it's just too much of a risk. There's too much of an advantage. These guys are still
even if he plays, we know he's dealing with something that's a serious ailment. It's ailing him. That I think that's the word to use, Joe. It's an ailment. We're not sure if he's hurt or injured, but it's ailing him. It's ailing his game. It's ailing his effectiveness. And so I think you make Jokic play 94 feet. You make him play 94 feet for the 44, 45 minutes he's out there. He will eventually... There is a... I know we're kind of getting in the weeds, Joe, but there's a plaque when you walk into the San Antonio Spurs headquarters. There's a plaque just before you go into their locker room, and that plaque is just above their championship trophies. And the quote is, "It's not the 99 strikes of the Rock that break it. It's not the one strike of the Rock that breaks it. It's the 99 you took before." And that's what you have to do with Jokic. Wear him down. Eventually you break. Remember Rocky IV, Joe?
Could be the best Rocky, believe it or not. I've gotten into discussions about that. I said, I think, and maybe it's because I was a kid.
When Drago says, "I cannot break him. He is iron."
Well, he's like a piece of iron. That's what he said.
Yeah, he's a piece of iron.
He's not human. He's like a piece of iron.
Yeah,
and that's the dramatic version of what Duke was saying in the second Rocky. I saw you beat that man on every inch of his life, and the man kept coming. And it's a great lesson. This is why I think Stallone has been so great in his illustrious career. Is he had a way, because a lot of the stuff he wrote, he had a way of connecting with people and everything related to both the story and the people that are watching it. You get humbled when you don't understand that line in bad ways. You can get humbled in a bad way at the wrong time. Mike Tyson, James Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield. You know, those are the two that popped in my head because we are talking boxing.
Conor McGregor, Khabib.
Khabib. Unfortunately, we already knew that he was going to get his butt whooped by Khabib.
When you talk about a man's wife, you better be ready to go.
And I think a lot of that was I think Conor McGregor at some point reached these guys will eventually not fight for their own pride. They'll fight for the money. They'll fight for the.
Khabib Nurmagomedov is the greatest fighter. I'm not talking about boxing. I'm talking about fighting. Khabib is the greatest fighter of all time.
You don't think John Jones is?
No. I think Khabib would destroy him.
Really? How?
Khabib is a mauler, Joe. He's a mauler. Yeah, I understand Jones has more technical skill and would probably be able to have the endurance to stand Khabib, but Khabib is a mauler.
I agree. Obviously, there's a size difference there, so he wouldn't beat John Jones just on sheer size. The thing with John Jones.
See, the thing about getting into a scrap with a brawler is eventually you're going to be in a phone booth with him. Then what are you going to do?
John Jones has the perfect physique for mixed martial arts and the perfect discipline for mixed martial arts. It would translate in competition and it would translate in real life. If you tried to fight John Jones and you're an amateur, you're not even a fighter. I mean, most of these guys, they whoop your butt anyways, but I can't even imagine what a guy would turn into if he did his spinning elbow on a civilian. He could basically kill them in a minute. As far as Khabib mauling somebody, sure. I mean, those guys wrestle bears in Russia, don't they? But
he's from Dagestan, but yeah,
we're gonna have to have an MMA show at some point. I don't talk enough MMA because I don't feel like there's been enough really good fights. I know this last one was pretty entertaining, but I wasn't able to watch it. I haven't seen it, Sheed. I still got to sit and watch the new Roadhouse. But again, for those of you who have just arrived or have arrived for the first time, this is the Nightcap. The Nightcap is generally the after party of our post-game show during games. And we're having a 2-hour Nightcap tonight because there's been a lot of merging of the show due to time constraints. A lot of these games are finishing up at 10 o'clock. I'm trying to be respectful of a lot of my East Coast and way beyond East Coast clientele. I want them to sleep normally. Of course, I'm not going to sit here and tell guys like Cool Bro to stop drinking Red Bull and eating fast food yet. Everyone else is to get 4 hours of sleep.
Alan makes a good point. If I give John Jones a chance if he's sober, if he's been drinking a little bit and doing the little booger sugar, got no chance against Khabib.
Yeah, it's gotten to the point where he is the Barry Bonds of mixed martial arts. He didn't need steroids. He didn't need extracurricular things, yet he's got an addictive personality, much like the gentleman we were talking about with Lamar Odom, DK Metcalf, Karan Butler. People usually have addiction issues, and if they're not, let's say, into drugs, they'll usually go to sugars and cokes and
it's
other stimulants.
It's amazing how that never helped. Like in football, it's 50-50 with that, Joe, because it helped Lyle Alzado. Lyle was crazy, but it didn't help Tony Mandarich. It didn't help him.
I think the sad thing about Lyle Alzado is he didn't need it. He could
No,
have been just as
Lyle
great.
was just a
He
competitor.
could have been great, just as great without it. And it's unfortunate that it went the way it went. It expedited his sickness. I think he would have eventually gotten sick, but steroids tends to do it accelerates everything. So heart attacks, organ failures, kidney issues, heart issues. You had mentioned Jay. You had mentioned MMA or WWE. I'm not trying to be the revisionist history guy here. I'm not trying to be the old man, but honestly, guys, is anybody going to argue that kayfabe didn't take the elegance out of wrestling? I know it's more popular now and it makes more money now than ever before. A lot of that has to do with the fact that we have a much larger marketing scope and ability to draw in a crowd than the world had.
You're talking about like the guys like Bruno Sammartino.
No. I'm talking 80s and 90s.
Okay, so like we're talking like Dusty Rhodes, the Four Horsemen.
I would say, and I no disrespect to the Bob Backlunds and the Bruno Sammartinos and all the 70s territorial era guys. Really, honestly, the best era of wrestling was obviously the late 90s. And its birth was Hulkamania and the WWF at the time in the mid 80s. I'd say between 85 and 2000 was that was the prime of wrestling. And again, kayfabe had a big part in that. And the fact that there was this immense amount of talent that ended up turning everything more mainstream. Wrestling was not as mainstream, even though Hulkamania was pretty big in the 80s, but it became mainstream during the Attitude Era, which is why they made more money at that point. It just regular people knew who Stone Cold was and The Rock, and it translated into other things down the road. But my God, we've talked about everything here tonight. What was it? The wrestling, MMA, the Lakers, Denver, 80s basketball. See, guys, this is what we do. This is what the Nightcap is for. And I try to be respectful for a lot of our patrons here. Sometimes we'll veer off for a while on something, and we'll get that little hammer hitting going. Hey, can you please talk about the Lakers? That's why we're here. So I want to respect that as well. But this is a show that's supposed to be about a lot of things. And I've been asked by some to talk maybe a little bit more politics. I've been kind of staying away from that a little bit because everything seems to be tied to politics, even though sometimes it's not supposed to. Like, guys, just because someone is not doing well in an area where that hovers in on TV doesn't mean you got to take it into politics. Just focus on the matter at hand. Talking about the Dodgers, unfortunately today, they end up finally losing. They had won 6 in a row. They lost today. Muncy had bases loaded, bottom of the 8th, and just missed a grand slam to take the lead in the bottom or the top of the 8th by a you know what hair. You know what I'm talking about, right? Right, Sean?
Yes, I do, Joe. They had the bases loaded with Muncy up at the plate, and yeah.
So baseball and the NFL draft. So I'm glad you brought that up, Jay. Thanks. And Bret Hart, I'll get to that in a second here too.
Papa Shango.
Papa Shango.
Also,
I like him as the Godfather better.
Yeah, the Godfather. Yes.
This draft had a lot of talent. And I might be in the minority here, but I believe it's got talent up and down all over. However, I think the quarterbacks taken in this draft were way overdone. You had 6 first-round draft picks of quarterbacks. I think only half of those guys should have been first-round picks. Bo Nix shouldn't have been one. J.J. McCarthy shouldn't have been one. And I don't think Penix Jr. should have been one. And we're going to find out if I'm wrong on that one. I don't know if those guys are NFL quarterbacks. I'm going to have to see what system, how they play, what happens. I think these teams got because the NFL is so quarterback centric and it's getting worse and worse every year because you have someone like Patrick Mahomes who's just out of this world good, and you need to have everything go your way at the right moment and have a Joe Burrow playing against him to win. This is why these guys are taking the risk in drafting any quarterback at any time to see if they can hit and get lucky. But I think half the quarterbacks shouldn't have been drafted in the first round. So I'm gonna say there's only gonna be one quarterback out of those 6 that's going to be a franchise quarterback. And as of right now, I'm gonna put it out there. It's not gonna be Caleb Williams. Whoever it is, I know it's not gonna be Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is immensely talented, great arm, great athleticism, got all those physical intangibles, blah, blah, blah. But there's something in the noodle that I think is going to end up costing him and the Bears down the road. Even if he has a good rookie year, will this guy adapt year in and year out? Because that's the thing with the NFL, is adapting constantly. The reason why guys like Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, the greats of the era right now, the reason why these guys are as great as they are is because they're constantly working. They're not worried about money. They're getting their money. They're going to get their money. Quarterbacks are going to get their money for 15 years for sure, especially if they're franchise quarterbacks. But are you worried about winning first? Are you about the lifestyle? The lifestyle, not outside the football field. I'm talking about the football field. Jarred Allen. Say Jarred Allen. Josh Allen. Jeez. Josh Allen is about the life.
Jarred Allen was a great pass rusher.
Yes, absolutely.
Cowboy hat and all.
So you have Josh Allen, Joe Burrow when he's healthy. You could say Lamar Jackson to a degree, but his vertical inadequacies are not good. He's going to have to get lucky if he's going to win a title. He's going to have one of those playoff runs where it's very similar to a Colin Kaepernick type.
And
run.
Joe, with all due respect to his MVP trophy, I still contend the best dual threat quarterback of all time, running and passing, is Randall Cunningham.
I'm going to say probably Steve Young in my era. Randall Cunningham was that 98 season in Minnesota, unreal, unbelievable. If Gary Anderson hits a field goal, they're in the Super Bowl. I don't know if they beat Denver.
Well, even the Philly teams he was on, I mean, some of them were trash offensively, and he just gutted them to like 9 or 10 wins a season.
The thing is with Randall Cunningham is he had all the physical tools, and much like the Caleb Williams,
he could punt it 80 yards.
He was amazing. And later in Minnesota, he was able to look. He had Chris Carter, he had Jake Reed, he had obviously the Mr. Randy Moss. All he had to do was get that ball to him. And Dante Culpepper benefited from that as well down the road. The issue is when you have to adapt, at some point they're going to figure that out. Look, just keep him in front of you, and then this guy's not going to be able to get his third target. He's not going to get his second target. So guys like Mahomes, guys like Brady, Jarred Allen. So let's use those 3 as an example. Tom Brady did not move. He was so genius, he could get the ball out because he could get to his 5th and 6th reads. Patrick Mahomes, or I'm going to go to Josh Allen next. Josh Allen is so athletically freakish, he can still pass and run and not be a running quarterback. And then you have Patrick Mahomes, who can do both. He can get to his 5th and 6th read and run. Patrick Mahomes is on a path of being the greatest quarterback in the next 3 years. If he wins 2 more Super Bowls, even if he doesn't reach 7, he doesn't have to reach 7. If he wins 2 more Super Bowl, if he three-peats, he might be considered the greatest quarterback. Not because, we're in the moment and this is what's going on. No, I'm talking about from leadership, skills, results, weapons, no weapons, everything. This was a down year for Kansas City, and he still won. That is a testament to how great he is. And a three-peat in the Super Bowl era, there's only been one team that's ever three-peated in terms of NFL titles, and that's the Green Bay Packers in 65, 66, and 67. Now, 66, 67 ended up being Super Bowl wins after they won the NFL championship. And then 3 years earlier, they won just the NFL championship because the Super Bowl hadn't existed yet. Jerry Rice's son, Brandon Rice, also got drafted. Didn't he go to – where did he go? I just saw it.
You're right on, Sheed. And not only that, Michael Vick is the greatest video game quarterback of all time, even with Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes.
Was he?
He is.
Who was a really good quarterback? I think Montana was really good on Tecmo Bowl, though, wasn't he?
He was.
Oh, no, that was Rice. Rice is the greatest Tecmo Bowl receiver.
Bo Jackson was the greatest Tecmo Bowl player ever,
Period.
Joe.
That's why they only had one play for him.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
And originally players were given 2, but Bo Jackson was so deadly in that game, they conceded that he could only have 1.
So Blue Magic made a good point. Thank you, Blue Magic, for bringing this up. I was going to say something, and then I wanted to let Sean finish. Unfortunately, Sean, I did see some things in the Super Bowl that I was not very happy with. There was blatant holding on Nick Bosa on a lot of plays. Nick Bosa, this is the part where this is part of the preparation. Nick Bosa needed to start. He may have. I didn't see it, though. He needed to be talking to the refs almost on every play. And Kyle Shanahan, I know there's a lot going on, but man, you got to really be in that and say, guys, they're holding Nick every other play. Call it, please. If they call a couple of those plays, do the Niners win the Super Bowl? That's a bummer if it's true.
Well, you know what, Joe? In all likelihood, Kyle Shanahan probably blamed Steve Wilkes for that as well.
Maybe. Yeah. And the rules are going to get worse here. I think points had dropped because finally these defenses have adapted to the offenses. So they obviously have to come in and change another thing that's not going to help the defense or tackling. And they're going to allow them to wear these Kelso hats now. They're all going to look like a bunch of freaking light bulbs. You hear about the protective cap that they're going to allow to wear? They're just going to have a logo attached to it?
Nope.
Yeah, it's coming. He's allowed it, Mr. Goodell. And he's adamant about 18 games coming, which we already know that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. He's not a fan of the preseason. So my question to you, and they're going to have to add another week, and he wants to make the Super Bowl part of presidential weekend, which I think actually that's a good idea. Monday should be a holiday after the Super Bowl. I do agree with that. The question I have for you on that, and then we'll get back to the Lakers before we sign off here for the show. The question I have for you is, at what point is this a-hole commissioner going to understand that he's destroying these people's bodies? And at what point is that going to make him turn this really into a flag football game? When will people stop watching the NFL?
It's a great question, Joe. Because it's a monster. The numbers just keep getting bigger and bigger. Viewership just keeps getting bigger and bigger. I think. Okay, so I'll answer the question after I ask you kind of a footnote to that because I think it'll give me a better overview. What percentage of football fans would you say are traditionalists, whereas they want to see a fair game where the defense has a chance?
Guys like us,
Okay,
the purists.
the purists. That's right. What percentage would you put the purists at as far as the NFL fan goes? 25, 30?
Has it dropped that much?
I'm asking you. You're the man. You're the man.
I don't think
Like
it's that.
40%?
I think 40 would be better.
Okay. I think if it dropped to 20, like if you lost half the purists, I think that's when they would try to know that they have to turn the ship around.
So they're also going to be putting in this new lame XFL kickoff garbage thing, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
That question. I've been marinating on that question in my own head for a while. At what point does the value of football go away? The true value of football, and do we care?
Yeah, we care. I
Okay,
care.
let me ask you a simple question. What if they did turn it into a flag football game? Will you watch the NFL?
No. I wouldn't watch it if it turned into flag football.
Here's what I think may happen in the future. I believe there's a chance, especially if there's a year where all the half the great quarterbacks get injured, that you might not be able to tackle the quarterback. Now, I would have never in a million years thought this would be possible, but at this point, it is getting to that point where the thought is coming to my head. You have a literal flag on the quarterback. You can't tackle him. Does that make you not watch football again?
I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah. At some point, I'm waiting for that threshold. At what point? You can't tackle him below. You can't drop tackle him now. If you can't hit him on top because he's going to get concussion, where are you going to tackle the quarterback at some point here? You can tackle him in the stomach.
That's it.
I don't know. With that, these are questions that we'll probably get back to here. I'm sure we're going to be doing a lot of that this summer, hopefully after a Laker championship. But I want to thank everyone for being here tonight, folks. I'm sorry that I haven't been able to do the nightcaps on a regular basis. We've been merging the show with the post game as well as a lot of activity going on here. But I'm telling you right now, guys, there's some things that I'm doing off air that are going to eventually get us in a position where this show will continue to increase its production value. It's slower than I thought it would be. I thought I'd have a little bit more going my way, but things are getting progressively more busy for me. So I haven't been able to sit down and really focus on it, but it's coming. It's coming. Sean's going to be here. Gerald's going to be here for the long haul. And of course, we have a nice little weekly base as well. Guys that chime in every now and then, like John Costa and Yami Sweet and Laker Tom. That's going to be ultimately the I can't forget Empire Jeff. Empire Jeff came at the right time. Yeah, I'd like to do more shows with Empire Jeff, but Empire Jeff is just too big for us, folks. He's in that celebrity range. He's like, I'm like, let's say, what was that guy's name what was his name? Remember the guy that got killed by the T-1000 when he was drinking milk? You're on mute.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Robert Patrick?
No, yeah. I'm talking about the guy he kills with the milk.
Oh, yeah. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Okay, so
that guy.
Guy, I'm actually knew you weren't going to know his name, and that's the point. That guy. There's a lot of that guy and that lady in movies, right? You see them in all these movies, and you know that who they are, but you don't even know their name. That's us. Empire Jeff is like George Clooney, Brad Pitt. He's too big for us. So, he doesn't want to. He'll do movies with us, but if we want to co-star, yeah, it's a no-go.
I just looked up his name, Danny Cooksey.
Danny Cooksey. He wore the whites in A Few Good Men too, I think.
Yeah.
Oh no, he wore the tans. Sorry, he wore
Tans,
the tans.
yeah.
Yes, sorry, my mistake. No, I wasn't in the Navy, but I have a lot of friends in the Navy. That's why I know the lingo. But again, I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. Even Jeff for coming here at the end, like he does. Thank you so much for showing up. Thank you for all the good super chats. Thank you for the great questions tonight, guys. I really, really, really appreciate it. We're going to be back tomorrow. Game starts at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
And now, Joe, time for your final thought.
My final thoughts.
For Game 5.
My final thoughts for Game 5. If Jamal Murray does not play or is limited, you must make Jokic play as far away from the paint as possible, because he's going to get the offensive rebounds and he's going to do that 4-minute turnaround that he does, and he makes those shots every single time. You're going to get traded for that, Jeff, just like Van Exel got traded. So just remember that. Trade your ass. But keep Jokic away from the basket. Keep him away at least with his back to the basket, because the mother effer is huge. All he has to do is do this, do that, this, and it goes in. Keep him away from the basket. Oh, and in reverse, get Anthony Davis the ball 2 to 3 feet away from the basket. You do those things for 48 minutes, and you could come out of Denver with a win and seriously start scaring some people. Now, with that, thank you for being here tonight. Sean, Grice, Joe Soro, Gerald Glassford, and everyone here at the Lakers Fast Break. Until next time, we'll see you next time.